I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Sustainability Commission. Let's start with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I guess we can do roll call. Fonda Owens? No. Jeff Matusik?
Here.
Lauren Huffman?
Here.
Tucker King?
Here.
Zach King? And Ty?
Here.
Is there anything else I missed here? I think that's got it. We don't have, I don't know what happened with the meeting when I was gone, but I don't believe we have any minutes from that meeting to take a look at today, do we? So we'll put that off.
I don't think so. I think we just did a working session, so we didn't create meeting minutes from the working
Small
session.
group, so, okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move then to, just talk about reorganization. I don't know that we're going to take action today because we don't have the full, but we don't have the full group. But it's just normal for us to talk about officers, who's officer serving in what capacity and whether we want to make changes or change that order. I don't know. I guess the protocol in these is every couple of years maybe or something, make changes, but we'll put that off if the group thinks.
Do it every year. Well,
Traffic Commission do it every year. So maybe we'll make that a topic for the next meeting because I'd really like to have our full group to make that kind of decision. So, so we're going to get into old business, Tucker. Can you give us an update on the tree grant?
Yeah, so tree grant, everything's kind of rolling along as normal. We just got a planting contract together with Dogwood Hills Tree Farm based out of, oh darn it, now I can't think of it. Dogwood Hills though, Middlebury. They did our last fall planting, and they're doing the spring planting this year as well. So we're looking, right now I'm working on getting a letter together for all of the homes that have been selected for trees currently so that we can get it to them in advance in case anyone wants to not have a tree in their yard, because, you know, I just want to make sure we're communicating with people. And then hopefully that'll give us enough time to be able to reslot those trees. I mean, we have a lot of planting locations, so.
How many trees roughly?
80 to 85. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Nice.
But 80 to 85, and then with the CDBG tree or sidewalk program, we'll also be taking down another. I want to say they're taking down roughly 50 trees, and that'll be another 100 planted, I think, because they do a 2-to-1 ratio as well. So I could be wrong on that one though. So yeah, we'll be planting another 100 to 150 trees just from those two programs. And then just doing the normal reimbursement stuff. We haven't heard anything about closing of the grant or anything like that, so everything looks good.
That's excellent, because I think we were fearful initially that we might not have the wonderful funding that you managed to get us.
Yeah.
So
When was the planting to start?
The planting will begin within the next month.
that's a nice number of trees. Maybe dovetail off that if you can with our Arbor Day planting, because, you know, what kind of trees and what and all that.
So the Arbor Day event, something we've been talking about for a while. It's going to be in partnership with the Rotary and our grantor. The Rotary donated, I think it was $12,000 altogether, $12,500 if I remember correctly. And we're going to use that as a local match to hopefully plant another 80 to 100 trees along the Clear Lake Loop area. So I don't think that we will be able to do that as a spring planting in time for Arbor Day, but we will be able to do like a ribbon cutting ceremony on Arbor Day and then have or a dedication on Arbor Day, and then we'll do the actual planting in the fall along with our fall planting, I
Now, you
believe.
mentioned Clear Lake Loop, but this grant, the Rotary is to be the Chessie Trail, right?
Well, it's a combination of the Chessie and Clear Lake Loop. So
Okay.
it'll essentially extend down Truesdale from Pine Lake Avenue into Fox Park and then down the Chessie Trail. It'll kind of meet up with that Clear Lake Loop trailhead and then hopefully do a little bit of the Clear Lake Loop as well, if I remember correctly.
So we're attempting to put the flowering trees along the length of the Chessie Trail,
Yeah, exactly.
which is what, it'll give it some real
Character.
additional
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be a beautiful project once
What
it's all
kind of
said
tree
and
will,
Trail and Clear Lake.
Yeah, like the Clear Lake Loop and the Chessie Trail. So I guess extending from, I guess it's East Shore Parkway at the northern boundary along the Chessie all the way to, I assume, Tyler Street then, where Chessie 3 kind of, well, actually Chessie 3 kind of ends over by J Street and Lincoln Way, if I remember correctly. But I don't know if we're going to go all the way into the neighborhoods with it or not.
right, and what tree would this flowering tree, what tree are we selecting?
It's going to be a mix, but it'll probably be like red buds and dogwoods and native flowering trees.
Okay, great.
Yes.
After they're planted, is there follow-up for care?
Yeah, so we do have Dogwood Hills has I'm trying to think of the word for it now.
Like an ongoing operational maintenance or?
Well, so we handle the operational maintenance in-house as a part of I'm trying to think of the word. It's not rebate. When you buy something, what's the replacement policy?
Like a warranty?
Yeah, warranty. There we go. I couldn't think of the word. I apologize. Yeah. So as a part of our contract with them, there's a warranty policy that if we follow proper maintenance and care, which they give us a pamphlet on, and our guys are trained to do, that any trees that die within that first year will be replaced. So we're working right now with our street department and the water department to come up with a proper watering and mulching program for all of the trees that will be planted.
So a tree's planted in someone's property, the city is still taking care of the tree, watering it?
Yeah.
Right, it's not the property owner's job to take care of the tree?
No. Yeah, technically they're planted within the right of way, so they are city property, yes.
Sorry, right, not on their property, but
Yeah,
within the easement, but it's still someone's, it's in their,
Yeah, I mow
right, yeah.
mine.
Right.
Yeah. You are still, responsible for mowing. It's, for all intents and purposes, it is your yard, yes.
Yeah, but
Yes.
if someone gets a new tree in their yard that's on the city's easement, they're not responsible for taking care of the tree?
We ask that they don't.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. For the record, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're
Because I can see
working,
someone saying, there's a tree here, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it, is it my responsibility?
yeah,
But it's not.
no,
That would be your letter or notice that you sent out, right?
that's my intention, yes. Yeah, we did not do that with the first round, and we got quite a stink over it, so,
That's why I'm getting it on the public record.
no, on the second one, we fully intend to be in communication with people and letting them know what's going on exactly.
Did you say between the tree grant and then the Rotary Club, did you say 150 trees total?
No, that was the first one. I think it's going to be 80 to 100 trees with the Rotary funds and the tree grant matching funds, yes. That's the intention.
I guess one question that might get asked is how big are they? When will we be able to expect flowering trees? Will they be?
It depends on what diameter
Okay,
the trees that we get to plant are initially. If they're in that like 1.5 to 2.5 range, I would think that we would be able to start seeing them flower pretty quickly
okay.
within, the first 3 years, I would think. So, I mean, they're going to flower no matter what. Like, that's just a part of their life cycle. But to get like the real beautiful blooms, it would probably take, 5 to 10 years, I would think. Yeah.
Well, and as the group knows, of course, we're going to make this our Arbor Day event,
Yeah.
in conjunction with Arbor Day and Earth Week and sustainability. We're going to plant trees,
Yeah.
so.
No, that's a big part of it, and then obviously we're trying to do the cleanup stuff beforehand and everything like that, which is kind of what our working sessions have been focused on, is just trying to get all of that lined up properly, and it sounds like a lot of that is kind of coming together, so.
Maybe you or that continue, I guess, with what the working sessions have decided we're going to try to do on that day. Ours is Earth Day, correct, on Friday?
No, it'll be Arbor Day is
Arbor Day
that
is
Friday.
Friday, okay.
Earth Day is the 22nd, Arbor Day is the 25th.
Arbor Days, okay. Do you have anything to report there, Zach, what we're trying to feed people and refreshments and do a cleanup?
Nothing from me personally. I did read in an email that we have a potential donor for some food. And I know Tucker has talked with Waste Management for some cleanup.
Materials.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so the intention is that we'll host some kind of cleanup in the morning time, and then there'll be like a lunch period, followed by that dedication we had talked about. And we're still working on maybe some other things that might be included in that. I know that the library plans on doing their story time, their like I think it's a monthly story time that they do. It might be weekly, I don't really know. But they'll also be doing their story time at that event as well at the amphitheater there at Fox Park. So we're still ironing out all the details, but we've been working with the commission, obviously, and then now we're kind of working together with the park department with their Earth Day 5K that they'll be doing the following day in the same area.
So maybe target, are they gonna go up and down the Chessie Trail? So our cleanup, we'd focus maybe on the Chessie Trail and these associated trails?
Yeah, so their official route will be around that Clear Lake Loop, down the Chessie. So essentially, they'll start I think they're starting at the Fox Park amphitheater, running down to the Chessie, down a certain part of the Chessie to a certain length, turning back around, and then going around what would be the southern side of Clear Lake there, and then returning back to the amphitheater for the 5K. So our cleanup will be focused on that exact area essentially, which will be nice, I think.
And I was impressed with the work already done, park department, everything looked pretty clean out there.
Yeah,
When I went out there today, but I'm sure once we get into the weeds, so to speak, we'll see
yeah,
a reason for us to do it. So, but it looked good right now, actually.
yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, well, so we'll just continue evolving that. We're having a regular meeting on the 22nd. If potentially we might,
I think it would probably
have
be
a
a good
small
idea to
meeting
have
before
another
that,
work
work
session
session, yeah.
beforehand, just to make sure that we have,
do we want to set that for the week before or something?
Yeah, I'm good with the week before or
even 2 weeks before.
2 weeks from now, yeah.
I would
We
think
wanna
two,
keep
yeah,
the
like
2-week
halfway in
cadence.
between,
Halfway
yeah.
between, so that would put us at the,
It'd be like April 10th time period. I don't know what the dates would be there.
something like Thursday, the 10th? Is that what,
Yeah, I'm looking now, sorry.
yeah, take a look and see what,
Yeah, I mean, either the Tuesday the 8th or Thursday the 10th, I think would be fine by me. Actually, Thursday the 10th, there's something going on for the comp plan. I don't know what it is. I think we have a meeting for our comprehensive plan on Thursday the 10th. So either Tuesday or Wednesday that week would be better for me.
Do it on the 8th.
Yeah.
we
Yeah, I
could,
said the 8th.
we could do it on the 8th downstairs in that meeting room or something. Is
Yeah, we
that-
could do it at the meeting room here at City Hall or at the library like we did the last few. It
Might be
doesn't matter to
easier for
me.
you, you're here in the building and.
Yeah.
so, Should we take a vote on that, to have a work session? No, just understanding that we're gonna meet on that.
Yeah, I think just, we
Okay.
just state it and that'll be fine.
I'll be available remotely. I'll actually be in Georgia that whole week, so.
And we, of course, want to put for the dedication, we want to put some information, permanent information by the trail that recognizes the donation from Rotary. And so I think we'll work with Fonda on copy because she knows what, the Rotary's doing and how their logo, they have to approve copy using their logo. And I did some checking. I think we've looked at it and thought maybe some kind of a stone thing planted would be less likely to get vandalized. And I've initially started the conversation with,
Does the city have a plotter
Yeah.
yeah.
printed big? I mean,
There-
obviously it's paper, but
I've been talking to Covens initially and one of their employees and they can do anything with the computer with their, and so it was a good first meeting with them. I think there's going to be something we can do, and I think it'll give us a very durable memorial to the Rotary's generosity in this. So,
What time on the 8th? 4?
does it
Or
4
earlier?
o'clock work for everybody again?
Yeah, 4 works for me.
We'll do City Hall meeting room unless we decide to change that. And Fonda had some questions. I don't know if you saw the email about the recognition, and I think it's on track with something that'll work out good. Hopefully for low cost. The next item,
Before we move on, I've
Okay,
just,
go ahead, John.
yeah, quick question. So, I know some folks asked for maybe trees last year. Can you just explain kind of the process for, if they didn't get a tree last year, will they get another opportunity this year? Or kind of what's the process with communicating about where the trees are going to go?
Yeah, so currently we are relying solely on, okay, so to back it up, I guess. As we've discussed before, the grant's main focus is within the 3 census tracts that have been determined as like qualified environmentally. So that would be like the little numbers and letters area, the core like downtown area, and then the like older eastern East Jefferson side of town, that side over there, are like the 3 qualified census tracts of the 6 census tracts that kind of make up the city. And then to further refine it a little bit, that middle census tract is a HUD qualified census tract where our CDBG money really can be spent mostly. So the grant, I've been focusing the tree replacements in those 2 other census tracts because Mary Ann's CDBG project has done a really good job at replacing trees within that middle census tract. So I've been putting the focus of tree replacement into those outer 2. But to qualify that, people who want to have trees, we are updating the tree request form, which traditionally was used as a form on our website to report damaged trees or ask for tree removals or pruning. In this instance, I want to create another portion on there that says requesting a tree to be planted in your tree lawn. And that way we can start to create a repository of people that we know want to have trees in their yard, or the city's tree lawn, that whole thing we talked about a minute ago. So I want to create an area where people can kind of sign up for that and that we can keep a running list of people who are more friendly to having trees, because right now we're kind of just saying this area doesn't have any trees and we need to increase our canopy. It's mostly been like that focus of let's fill it out as much as we can with trees. So the areas that have the least amount of trees already should have more trees. But because some people aren't amenable to having a tree in their front yard, there's a lot of maintenance that comes along with that. Fair enough. We want to focus on making sure the trees are in places where people are going to enjoy them the most. And so I do want to create a place where people can request trees. And that's my intention. I have not been able to do that update yet, but I think it's something that I should have ready before the fall planting next year. So we've already kind of slotted the sites for these next 80 trees, but we still have 4 more planting cycles that we're going to do under this grant. And in that time period, I think it's very feasible for us to have a way for people to request to have a tree in their yard if they want one.
All right, that sounds good. Just to reiterate, make sure I heard correctly. Right now, the focus from the grant is in the census tracts that are disadvantaged.
Environmentally disadvantaged,
Yeah.
yes.
So if you're a homeowner that still wants a tree and not in that area,
Yeah.
you're probably not getting one this.
I would say you're probably not getting one this round, yes.
But
That doesn't.
Your plan is to get a updated form where people can request
Yes.
for the future.
Yes.
Okay.
And then also along with that, we have created that tree donation fund. And part of my intention is that eventually, as we have community partners who want to plant more trees as a part of their, environmental pledge, their sustainability pledge, these Arbor Day events, it would be really cool for people who are outside of those areas where we don't have funds, or even to use that as a matching fund locally to be able to plant trees outside of our grant area, if that makes sense.
I think so. So you're saying if you are outside of those census tracts and you are amenable to a tree or want a tree, you could donate some money and that might help, right?
Well, it would help
Yeah,
fund that, yes, yes.
And you could maybe get one for your own yard.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
city would-
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So the intention is that eventually, even after the funding is gone, that tree donation fund will be a way for us to be able to continue to slot trees within the city. Yeah.
Good questions. Anybody else with some questions about the tree process? Tucker, you again would be reporting on the EV charge process, charging stations, and
Yeah, well, okay, so when I said old business, this is just all the old business that we have. The EV charging stations have come up multiple times. I don't know if this is something that we want to handle as the Sustainability Commissioner or not. I think part of the intention of having these 4 items on our old business, at least from Todd and I's perspective, is like, we're only going to have so much time to be able to meet and work on things. The majority of our focus has been on the tree grant and the Arbor Day event. Do we have time to be able to take on the EV charging stations as something our commission takes on and moves forward? And regardless of whether or not we're doing it. I mean, I don't know if that would, you guys aren't city employees, you guys are volunteers. So, like, at the end of the day, the only oversight that you guys would have would be like helping us to assist in finding funds or, you know, whatever that may be, helping us to create legislation around those things. But in the end, the EV charging stations are still a city asset that we don't maintain very well. They're not a part of our long-term asset management plan, and it's something that people want. So it seems like the Sustainability Commission would be the best, like, governing body to kind of push that forward. So,
We don't have money, but we do have ideas, and the Board of Works would probably be the entity that would have to get involved to do that, but I think it would be a goal of us to have some charging stations at public locations such as, you know, public facilities like the Civic Auditorium, or I don't know whether we've got any at any of these locations.
there's one at the Civic, there's one at Fox Park, there's one at the water plant on Lake Street, and there is one at the 618 Plaza on the corner of Monroe and Lincoln Way.
Are they dual ones like the one over here and the
Yes.
one at the water plant? So
Yeah.
that two vehicles could be charging?
Yes. I think the one at Fox Park there might be two dual chargers there. I can't remember now.
Looking forward, we're going to need more of them.
Yeah, oh yeah, people are begging us for them. And the ones that we have currently are completely unmaintained, so they're damaged and they need a lot of work, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would say we keep this on the Sustainability Commission's agenda for sure. The technology's changing rapidly and trying to figure out how to service the community. I think it could be on too many people's, like, more agendas are better than less, I believe.
Yeah.
And if it's on our plate, I mean, I think, right,
Yeah, we can at least do research and make recommendations and do what we can without much of a purse.
yeah.
right. Right. But if we don't, who will, right? So, that's good. Zach?
I might be going down too much of a rabbit hole here, but other than managing them better, right? Do we have any other goals for those charging stations?
I mean, the biggest thing for me is I want to see, and this goes into that kind of internal sustainability auditing, which is at line item number 5.4 there. 5.42 exactly, asset management. There's a lot of assets the city owns and maintains that we don't have like a long-term sustainable mindset on. I think asset management is key to sustainability in my mind. I think they go hand in hand. And so I want to push forward. I would hope that the Sustainability Commission would push forward an agenda where asset management is a key of how the city is maintaining a sustainable approach to its infrastructure, essentially. And I think that the charging stations, just even pushing the Board of Works to say, yeah, we need to create, or the City Council to create a budget for, you know, the yearly maintenance of what we already have would be an amazing thing that we could do as a commission, in my mind. You know what I mean?
How did we get an estimate of that?
I don't know, maybe the budget would start.
Call the company that, I don't know.
Yeah,
Is there an asset management program at all right now?
for the EV stations or?
Yes.
In
and-
general.
In general, yeah.
Every department has their own set of assets, and what is managed and what is not managed is kind of the purview of those departments. So water does a great job with their asset management stuff. They've been using Cartograph for, 10 years now at this point. It's pretty amazing. Sewer, very good with their assets. Park, very good with their assets. Streets, they do their assets. I would say the biggest ones are the ones that are kind of non-departmentally owned assets. So like all of our bid district lighting, the planters, sidewalks are an asset that doesn't technically have an owner. And this is something I've taken from INDOT, actually. INDOT kind of has the asset owner identification for like bridges or culverts and things like that. And because of that, there's kind of a place where the buck stops. Like this person is in charge of this thing. When it comes to assets that are not owned by any individual department, but as like a city-owned asset, like lighting or things like that, we just don't have a very good long-term maintenance plan for those things. And it kind of just falls on whoever's taking care of it at that time to do it. And
The city owns the lights, but the street department takes care of them.
yeah, essentially, yeah, kind of deal, yeah. And so these charging stations are like that. There's no one who is said to be the owner of that. I think the Parks Department kind of became the de facto controller of it, but there's some that are not in park area, and they don't have anyone on staff that does that particularly well, you know, so, that's kind of where I see us coming in and saying, hey, at least mandate that there is an asset management plan, and then from there, we can kind of determine who the person who should be running that is, and then we can say, okay, roughly, how much do you think it'll cost a year to even just get them back to a working order or whatever?
I don't know the fate of the one at the water department was always put in as a temporary because we were moving along on Newport Landing, but we weren't there yet.
Yeah.
So it was temporarily put in front of our building, which is not a convenient spot for the staff, but it's there until we do get the.
Yeah, actually, I was helping someone try to hook up to that one this weekend, and I could not even get it to work.
Really?
So,
Okay.
the power is onto it, but the screen seems to be out for some reason. So I don't know what's going on there with that one. But it would probably be a good time for us to move it anyways, especially even just across the street to where the new water filling station is potentially. I don't know.
Well, somebody at Larson Danielson used to use it regularly, but I don't see that anymore because I'm not
Yeah.
around as much, but.
Yeah.
So
No.
just a quick Google, public EV chargers are around $400 per charger per year to maintain.
Yeah, I would guess like, I would say $500 a year would probably be enough just to maintain the ones we have, like $500 per.
I mean, the budget, you're not asking for $25,000.
No, I mean, unless because there hasn't been maintenance over the past 5 or 6 years that they've been installed, it would take maybe a little extra this year to get a contract together for someone to go around and test them and see what we could do, but
So what department oversees that right now? The, kind of the engineering department-ish?
I guess me, engineering,
you,
I would say.
right, yeah.
Yeah, I would guess.
Yeah, so I guess maybe here's what I would throw out there for us to think about. Once again, like the planters.
Yeah.
Who oversees the planters?
I would say engineering department right now.
Right.
Yeah,
So, like, if we could get an idea of what those assets are that are not, like, clearly defined as, you know, this is the department and the person that manages them. I mean, I think one thing, once again, we talked about not having a purse, but if we could get a list of those, we could maybe just make a recommendation to, can we, you know, put these assets in this person's, you know, pocket of things that they manage. I think that'd be the first step in an asset management program. And then maybe they're all, I mean, there's so much software out there these days. I mean, the GIS, you can, you know.
we have a software that we use for
Yeah,
asset management.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So just a matter of, I guess, getting that more defined.
I think that's
Is
the
that
biggest
helpful?
thing. Yeah, just getting a clear definition of who the asset owner would be, and then kind of roughly what a budget could look like for those, like, what should that person's time budget even be, like doing asset management, maybe? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, what percentage of someone's job is asset management? So,
I mean,
and
that
I
feels
think
like
that falls into that internal sustainability auditing thing, too.
Right, yeah, no, I agree. I think that that's something that our commission could do, is we could make a recommendation to whether it's Public Works or City Council, like, put this asset in this bucket would be our recommendation, and then, you know, the governing authority can decide if that's true, and then it's actually you know, no, it's not an ordinance, but it's at least,
Own going forward and maintain.
yeah, there's an
Well,
official record of whose it is. I think that's a good idea, if you think it is.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of hoping. Yeah.
I
No.
think somebody keeping records of it and somebody making sure that there's an annual maintenance visit and get the money to take care of it. But if we're gonna have more of them in the future, we better learn how to take care of our 8 or 10 of them, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the 5 or 6 we have now, is it all the cities?
Yeah,
The
so
city
they
purchased all those?
They were purchased through, I do believe, a grant that was given to us by NERC, if I remember correctly. And they're all charge point stations, but they're not hooked up to ChargePoint's network because there's a monthly like service fee that's connected with that as well. So they're kind of just like rogue charging stations that we have out in the wild that still are connected to the ChargePoint app in some way, but they're not connected to their network. It's very odd.
NERC had a big program a few years ago, and we're one of many communities that are dealing with that same issue.
Yeah, and I've looked into various options as far as charging stations go. I mean, there's a lot of places that partner with people to get charging stations, and then there's communities that own and maintain their own systems completely, and they buy off the part shelf. Like, you can buy off the rack shelves. Like, you can essentially piecemeal create a system off the rack shelves as well. that takes someone who dedicates their time to do that, though. Whereas some of these other systems are, they have maintenance contracts and things like that too. So I think there's a lot of options moving forward. It's just, we kind of have to think about what those options should be and at least make recommendations, I think would be a good start, Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I was gonna ask you or hit on, like, is there any, does the building department, when new construction comes in town here, are they offering it or saying, hey, people are looking for, employees of yours, however, or customers looking for putting in a charging station in there, split the cost, or we take care of the maintenance, or they pay for it to put it in there. But I know, like, Unity Park, if we put one in there, it's gonna be on the city, the Parks Department,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah, I don't, from my understanding, I don't think any of the new businesses that have come to town have looked at maybe putting some in their parking lot,
Yeah.
at least not that I'm aware of. But, I mean,
Or even it's suggested to them through us, hey,
yeah.
think about this idea, or the building department as they're coming in and making their plans for their parking lots and landscaping and facilities.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking, is like maybe we could, as the Sustainability Commission, say, for buildings of this type with this amount of parking, one or two spots should be designated as a charging location that's maintained by the owner or something like that. Like,
Yeah,
that's
it'd be
not,
most likely be an ordinance thing then, if
Yeah,
there's so many
exactly.
parking spots. If you have 50 or more parking spots, you have to put in a charging station.
yeah. I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea for us to get involved in that.
How do we start that?
I think the first step would probably be looking at what our zoning law requires now. So I could probably forward you the pertinent sections about parking related to our zoning, and then we could start to say, well, I think we'd probably have to have a conversation with either city planner or Nick.
I was gonna say, I would reach out to Nick.
Engineer.
Yeah.
What he does a lot, I mean, for us, when we wanna introduce an ordinance, is he'll look at local, so he'll look like South Bend, Belpraise, and see if they already have one.
I was saying Nick Minnick, not
Oh,
Nick
I'm sorry,
Otis.
I meant Nick Otis.
Yeah, no, Nick Otis, I think we would engage after we kind of came up with like what a solid idea would be. But I think first we'd speak with Nick Minnick or Craig Phillips or David Heinold to see like what's allowed in our zoning currently, and then like what would be a reasonable mandate to put onto the businesses that would be moving into this area, whether it be like 50 cars, like we had said, or maybe 75 or 100. I mean, I don't know what. I'm not that far into the weeds on as far as parking requirements go.
Any of the new ones, like the Health Foundation's building, or those, have they included chargers?
I don't think the Health Foundation building has a
It makes
charging
more-
station.
They make sense for places where you're gonna be in there a little longer. McDonald's might not be the place, but some place where you're gonna be there for half an hour.
Well, and it could be like, as far as like zoning districts related to, like if it's in the downtown area where you're going to be intentionally parking for some time and then maybe walking to other businesses, that would make more sense than if it was, a restaurant that well, I guess restaurant, you're there for a while, but like, you know what I mean? Like a place you go to and then have to drive to another place anyways. It wouldn't make as much sense to have a charging station there.
Sounds like an area where we can do more strategizing and
Yeah.
advising.
But yeah, no, it at least seems like a good direction to move in. So I'm happy you guys are on the same page.
Tucker,
Yeah, I
can
mean, I think we leave it open for discussion. I think it's an open item that the Sustainability Commission can help guide. So, yeah, I would leave that on our list of, items and,
to talk about in the future.
yeah.
Tucker, can I put an action item down for you to speak with Nick Minnick to draft a reasonable mandate for charging stations or in businesses within an area, downtown area that have X number of parking spots?
Yeah, I think I can at least open the conversation, and then from there, I think there would have to probably be some decision making as far as like, okay, where, like, let's create key areas where we would like to see these things in the future.
Yeah.
Like, and then from there, you guys can help me kind of determine what you think would be best. In particular, like, I'm thinking we're getting a Harbor Freight over at the old mall site now. Like, there's some developments going into the old Maple Lanes or Maple City Mall or Maple Lanes Mall, whatever it was over there. Maybe that's somewhere where we could see a few installed in the future or something like that. There's a very large parking lot there.
Depending on what they do with the old hospital property too, that might be something to partner with. What I've heard and what,
Yeah.
heard is one thing, but
I think everyone's heard a different thing about
Yeah,
that hospital site,
but,
let's just
you
say
know,
that, yeah.
When something comes out about what they're gonna do about it, I think that could be a viable option.
Well, at the big box stores in Michigan City, you see the whole bank of Tesla chargers, and I assume that's Tesla made a deal with them for that, but they've kind of opened their chargers up to other cars now, so maybe we get a hold of them and they want to put a charging bank somewhere in LaPorte.
I think the chargers are universal.
That's a long discussion, but they're somewhat universal.
The plug, at least?
The plug's getting more universal, yeah.
Okay.
And I think
It's not
that's
a-
kind of, isn't it kind of, briefly, that with Tesla, they made some concessions to make other vehicles can charge there. Yeah. You know more about, he's our expert, so we're going to tap him.
I did see, there was one of our citizens had parked a gas car in one of the electric charging cars places, but he had an electric cord going into his vehicle. And I was very confused by this. So I kind of looked into it a little bit further, and he actually had like home battery banks that had a charge point adapter on the home battery bank, and he was charging his home battery banks off of our free charging network. So I don't know how I feel about that. But we probably need.
Going through the door?
He had his trunk slightly ajar, but chained shut.
So he's
Yeah,
bringing the batteries to our station to
yeah,
charge, huh?
yeah, free charging point. Yeah. So I think we probably need to push forward to get some street signs that say electrical vehicles only, not home battery banks.
Yeah, no, I mean, that should be a code violation. I mean, the traffic officer should be able to say this is not an
Yeah.
appropriate use of this asset, yeah.
But we don't have it on the codes yet, so maybe we could draft some legislation for that.
Good. Let's see, where are we?
He was a really nice guy, though.
Not anything wrong yet.
You know, with Harbor Freight building over there, if they haven't done the infrastructure for their parking lot yet, if they're redoing it, it'd be an easy suggestion to them, hey, what do you guys think about putting in a, before they run the electric for new lighting and everything underneath
It requires a
the
big-
asphalt?
Yeah.
I think
Or
probably
even
would be
just
willing to.
because I assume Harbor Freight is leasing the space from whoever the actual property owner is, maybe as a part of that.
Rural King owns the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe we could talk with Rural King about having it as a part of their next contract or something too.
We move on.
Actually, I want to go back to asset management.
Yeah.
Is there an action item there that we can take down?
Okay, so I think we're actually moving on to that now, because I think that kind of whole discussion was EV charging stations. So I
Got
think
it.
we're moving on to internal sustainability auditing now. Which,
Sweet.
yeah. Yeah, that was a long conversation. Department meetings. What do you guys want to do with that? Do you guys want to have do you want to have it as individual departments? I think Zach has said in the past, you'd just like to see a meeting with all of them at one time. Would you guys want to do individual department heads to talk about sustainability? What do you guys want me to do as far as scheduling that out?
Yeah, so the idea in my head, right, is to have them all in one room at the same time and ask, what are the projects you have going that, we care about? And how can we help you?
Yeah, what interest do they have us helping them, or what is they think that we can do to help them, and share ideas and make things move
Yeah,
forward.
Promote what they're already doing, to meet the city's sustainability needs.
I mean, all of them in the same room together, it would work out well, because everyone's there and everybody can feed off of each other with ideas, but it'd probably be a longer meeting with everybody in there
Yeah,
possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels like a 2 or 3 hour meeting, but makes sense.
Yeah, one time Tucker, and we had talked just about, paying a visit or bringing them in either way, just to see what concept they have in place and what the future concepts are for the sustainability. I know, we've got a solar array at the wastewater plant, so they've really gotten way ahead. And we've talked with Ty about additional power installations.
Talk
But we
about
could-
ideas in general
could bring
before it
them
gets
in,
too
but-
specific, and if it's specific, then we can have that department head come in and specifically talk to us
Right.
about that idea and work forward from that.
Yeah, no, I like that idea. So department-wise, we're talking water, wastewater, parks, streets, engineering. Anybody else?
Code?
Code?
I mean, code enforcement, police, and fire
Police,
are
fire.
the other three that we're not
Okay.
talking.
Sure.
So I mean, like, we could include them as well. I mean, as far as police and fire are concerned, I would think the largest things that sustainability wise would be like maybe alternate vehicle, like using compressed natural gas or something to that effect, or I don't know. Water sustainability, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what code enforcement, I don't know what we would talk with code enforcement about sustainability wise. Oh, well, I guess what we just talked about, creating codes that,
Yeah,
like the
for
EV
exactly.
charging
We
station.
just brought up, yeah. like,
I guess
uh,
that's a fair,
When you plug your electrical cord into our system, what,
Yeah,
is
what
that legal or
happens?
not illegal? Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, creating code enforcement violations, yeah, that's a possibility.
All right, somebody repeat all those departments for me again. I don't type that fast.
So
we've got
we have-
water, we got wastewater,
Got it.
we've got streets, we've got engineering, we've got code enforcement, did I say parks?
Yes, no.
Parks twice.
Yep.
Then police, fire. I've got 8.
City planning and development,
Planning and development, yeah.
communication,
Communication, okay. There's 10.
and
Would you like clerk's office?
I mean, I don't know about the clerk's office and human resources are the other two. I don't know.
Probably
about-
put City Hall into a basket, kind of, as far
Yeah.
as the operators out of City Hall.
Yeah,
Just the main working heads of the departments, you know, to make the,
yeah, I was kind
make
of
the
thinking.
city, make the city function.
Yeah, maybe like a department head type meeting, but for sustainability commission specifically. If we're gonna try to get everyone into the room at the same time, it almost seems like it would have to be during working hours. So I don't know if the whole commission could sign up to do that, or if it would just be like a few of you.
That might work, or a couple of us do it, because then it's more informal and we can get good discussion going with
Yep.
departments. And we can, it's kind of hard, sometimes you don't think of police, fire, sustainability, but then you think of these departments and they use chemicals, they use equipment, just like street department. Well, Tucker found a great article on the sustainability, or on street sealing, rather than getting to the point where you have to repave, because you're using a lot less material, a lot less energy if you crack seal a street than if you let it come apart to the point where it's need to be patched and or replaced. Then you have to create a lot of asphalt product. So that was a good article.
As far as like ordinance and zoning, we probably don't necessarily need, everybody here. I mean, something, if we're gonna create ordinances or ask them to do something or look into that, we can always, after there's already a plans coming in effect, talk to them and see what they can do and how to help us make that come forth.
Yeah,
Yeah, it feels like a workshop
Right.
environment to me where we don't have quorum, it's not an official meeting, but 2 or 3 or 4 of us can attend, and the 10-ish departments that we named can be there, and we can just have a discussion. I think that's a good idea.
okay. I can look into doing setting something like that up. As far as timeline goes, I mean, we'd want to do it this year, obviously, probably within the next month or so.
And I can come during the days too. I can make it. That's
Yeah,
not a problem.
We'll get past April where we've got our event, and then I think we can,
Yeah, summer, maybe shoot for the summer?
Yeah, if it's going to be after April, May is going to be pretty much out for me. We're going to have the baby then, so I'm going to be out of the office a lot. And
It feels like a June, July thing, if I had to
Yeah,
guess.
I think
Like,
June,
give
July
people
would be
time to
better.
plan, like, they need to see it coming and plan like ideally they bring a 3-point power slide, deck to just, or whatever they want to do. I'm just saying, like, give them time to,
Yeah.
a few weeks to plan and come with ideas.
Something where they have notes written down, like, these are the projects that I'm doing, not
Right,
just
not
like,
just show up,
oh,
yeah.
Yeah, wait.
Yeah. Yeah, I can start talking to them now, and then let's plan for like a middle of June time period.
and we could, as members with the commission, we can start thinking of the kind of things we want to ask them, so that we're ready on our side. What do we? Because we're going to have ideas they don't have, and they're going to hopefully have ideas maybe we didn't have, so.
Yeah, there's definitely some departments that are looking to you guys to start pushing forward some stuff. Like, I know Mark over at Parks has mentioned multiple times that he would like to see the Sustainability Commission push forward green infrastructure mandates on certain projects. So,
Be a great topic for the meeting, yeah.
Yeah. And then asset management.
Then asset management.
Yeah.
We already kind of talked about that.
So, yeah, again, to reiterate, I see asset management as a sustainable practice that the city could be doing. I think having a proper asset management plan helps us to, track costs and, plan for the future as far as what costs are going to be and hopefully help the city run in a more sustainable manner through that. Specifically, we use a lot less money and energy and time when we are being proactive instead of reactive. So, I guess what we had talked about previously as far as asset management and action items that might be related to that would be, coming up as a unit together with an idea of like what assets the city owns, maybe finding which ones are not maintained properly by a department, and then figuring out, who should be that person, and, maybe saying to, like, creating some kind of document for Board of Works to say, hey, it seems like these things could be controlled by this person. This is our recommendation, or whatever.
Yeah, I just want to change one thing you said. So not maintained properly by a department, but
Yeah.
not owned by a department.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't, we want to set up a system where everything's owned. We don't necessarily care that it's maintained properly.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
I keep doing acronym, but they're asset management orphans.
Orphans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody's got them on their radar
Right.
for taking care of it, so.
Yeah. And I could come up with probably a whole list of assets that fall into that category. So,
Yeah, I think for the minutes, like if you could just bring that list to us, maybe we can help with a recommendation.
Yeah.
Of those things, yeah. I think it's a good idea.
and just get it codified, because right now it's kind of just whoever ends up doing it does it kind of thing, a de facto kind of deal,
Or even stuff we can help out with, like the lakes.
Yeah.
Of course, I'd bring that up, but, help out with the lakes, and, we are living a lake life.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's definitely a key asset that I think the city could,
That's how we got to Beach Week, right?
yeah,
The guys always call it Beach Week is when they go out to clear the channel sand, work with the,
Yeah, and we do a lake cleanup, which
Yeah.
we're planning to share to help the sustainability committee, or maybe we can work together and put that out there.
that would be an awesome event in the future. I don't see why we wouldn't want to do that, yeah. I mean, Sustainability Commission, I don't see why that wouldn't be a part of our helping out with. Have you worked with Emily Archibald over at the parks at all?
No.
No, she's the one who's helping. She's like the new assistant director over there,
Okay.
and she's putting on that like Earth Day 5K that we're kind of working together on. I feel like she would love to help out with something like that.
Yeah, we basically go around, clean up the stuff left over from the winters and around the lake shorelines, the main shorelines that are used, and we have a little lunch and sandwiches, something like that, and supply the gloves and garbage bags for everybody. And
Yeah. I mean, that's essentially what we're talking about with the cleanup we're doing. So, yeah, I think that's awesome.
Maybe a legal way to scare the Canadian geese away from the paths.
yeah, I'm staying away from that one right now. Get myself in trouble.
well, Tucker, we're there to the point of new business, I think. Does anybody have any new business for the group tonight? Looks like we don't. Do we have any visitors? I don't think we have any visitors at our meeting tonight, so we'll pass that one. Any announcements aside from what
We are having a Arbor Day / Earth Day event on April 25th. It'll start at 9, if I remember correctly, with a cleanup that will be sponsored by Waste Management.
Yep.
And we'll probably have some kind of lunch event afterwards before we do a dedication to the Rotary for donating money, along with our pass-through grantors and grantors at the U.S. Forest Service and the Core Network.
Meeting place for the 25th, like at the amphitheater? Or
It'll be at the Fox Park Amphitheater. Yes.
So we'll probably use the facility that they built for the restrooms and the food, to do the food out of, or?
I do believe that we will be using, yeah, the Arts in the Park building there. I'm still working on getting a confirmation on that because there's a little bit of a tricky relationship, I guess, between Arts in the Park and the parks. Like, the parks own it, but they don't have complete, like, they can't say yes. I think we have to talk with somebody from Arts in the Park. I'm still working through that, though, with Emily. So yeah, that's probably the only announcement we have.
Do we?
Oh, and that, and we're planting 80 trees, and I will get a list, I'll get a mail out to all the people who are getting a tree.
Have you talked with Jess? I didn't know whether, when I was gone, about a press release or something on this event, or probably
So,
too late to get in the water bill, I would think, probably for the next one.
yeah, we're working with Emily on doing tandem communication right now, between the park event and our event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make the motion.
Motion is
Second.
seconded by Zach, so the motion carries. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you all.
Did I do that right?